Yeah.
In reality,
Nice.
Oh,
welcome,
dude.
welcome,
I haven't
welcome.
seen that one in a long time. Thanks for digging that one up. That's great. Hey, and you know what? I got the greatest surprise this week.
You did.
I'm looking for my friend Brandon and I wrote kind of like an EDM, let's do something that might get played on the radio kind of album. And it's called 138 Hertz, spelled with a HURTZ.
Wow.
And,
nice.
and we tried to get it up on Pandora. We never heard. I just completely forgot about it. It's been years, right?
Right.
So I'm looking for a song that was actually the part of one of the pieces that was in that piece you just played. And what do I come up with? Pandora, 138 Hertz, explicit. And like I sent it to Leah, it's like the whole album is on Pandora.
Wow.
Dude. I'm like, wow, that's
and
awesome.
You didn't put it up there, and it just it like ended up there.
You know, we sent it out in a million different directions,
Wow.
and like, you know, life shows up and crap
that's
happens,
awesome.
and like we sort of lost direction on that and didn't
Right.
really think about it anymore, you know. And neither one of us got a notice, you know. Usually, like when they accept your stuff, it's on there, and it's on Spotify and iHeartRadio and 2 or 3 other things.
I love your music, man. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. You're gonna have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna take one of those songs and try to do a video from some of the stuff that we did. Yeah, it was that was fun.
Well, welcome to the Fool's Journey, folks. Whoever's out there. We didn't even say hello. We just started talking to each other. There's people out there who are watching us, who are taking this journey with us. It's Monday again. Can you believe it, Brian? How many Mondays have we been through?
You know, like it's a strange Monday for me too, because like I had that surgery last Thursday. And Like you
Yeah.
go through that whole like zone of like when they put you out, you know, and you go through drugs and like you get hacked on, man. It's like
Mhm.
it's a really strange, really bizarre zone to go through. So it kind of changes and warps your perception of time. Is
Totally, totally. Randy is a friend of mine. He's out there and he's
Hey, thanks for all the
doing
good
beautiful.
wishes and like the love and the many support pieces I got, and I'm miraculously crazy. I feel like $1,000,000 after.
You look like you lost 20 years.
I feel like $1,000,000, dude.
It's
You know,
amazing.
dude, being in constant pain all the time, man, just
Yeah.
blows. And I
Mhm.
don't know about you, but like painkillers, like the pharmaceutical remedy to numb that, or drinking, you know,
Right.
like just like the effects of that, like
Yeah.
get in the way of other stuff, you know.
You're a new man. It's awesome.
So you learn to deal with it, but at the same time, when you get all that energy back, you're going, "Wow, woo."
That's awesome. Well, it's good to see you back. I'm glad that you're on the other side of the surgery now, and you're here with us. And
Yeah.
um, I forgot I was gonna say something, and I totally forgot because Randy popped in. But not to blame you, Randy, but I didn't expect to see my friend Randy there. And Randy is also he lives in pain, and he says morphine works for him daily. And you know what? Different strokes for different folks. Oh, I know what I was going to say. What I was going to say was this. I had a conversation with someone recently. You just brought this up. When you go to sleep and you're dreaming, you're still conscious.
Absolutely,
And
your
you
aura is
remember that.
still going
So
crazy.
right, but when you get knocked out for surgery, you like what happens during that time? Because you literally like you don't remember. You wake up and like all this time has passed and you're in a
Yeah, but
different
you're only not remembering with your conscious self. Your subconscious knows every damn thing that will happen.
It's so crazy. It just doesn't feel like it. It feels
Well,
like
you
you
know, I had a hernia surgery about, let's see, about 2010,
okay.
and it was kind of lower down at the top of my legs near my groin, and they gave me an epidural. So like
Mm,
my you know, from the top of my back down, my entire legs were completely numb. I couldn't feel
right.
any of that. And then they gave me this kind of half anesthetic. So I'm sort of awake and I'm feeling them pushing around on me. And I'm like,
Oh,
kind of like,
geez.
I wasn't digging that all that much,
Yeah, that's a
especially
not
when
a
they
good
were making
experience.
jokes about my testicles and stuff. And it's
Oh
like,
my God, that is not a fun experience. Holy
this time they
moly.
put the mask on. I was gone. I woke up. And now they're already saying, okay, good to get up and walk. Go walk, walk. See ya.
Crazy. Totally
That
crazy.
was really good. Yeah, I have to
Uh,
say I have no complaint about the whole scenario. It went really super smooth.
you know what? I'm glad you came through it. I'm glad you got like a super clean bill of health. That kill juice that you make really works, and you take care of yourself. You eat healthy. You take it seriously, and
You know,
there you go. You reap the rewards.
that was just kind of like you don't really get statistical validation of your silliness and your way
Right.
of doing stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I drink the kill juice and stuff. But when you just test after test after test was all good. And usually what I was expecting was at least 5 or 6 of those at my age to have to go, oh well, we need to test further for this.
Right. Of
Didn't really
course. Of
didn't
course.
really happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad. All right. Well, I think we should get into the show.
Absolutely.
We're here for the fool's journey. We're here to talk about the princess card, but uh, you know, uh,
I'm stoked about the Princess of Wands.
yeah.
I'm stoked about all of the court cards. We're finally venturing out of the main 1 to 10s and moving into the court cards. And we really haven't dealt with those very much at all. In the particular
Mhm.
reading I do, when I pull a court card, it kind of defines a person, but another card gets pulled over that to modify that and show how
Right.
that person's going to act. So
Right.
this is really the first time that we're venturing into the princes, the prince, the queen, and the knight,
Mhm.
and those correspond to the page, the knight, the queen, and the king, like in the Rider Waite deck. They're
Mhm.
kind of a little
Mhm.
bit different association. And this
Mhm.
one is sort of the queen that's the badass, so kind of appropriate. Um, so we're also not just using the court cards to kind of define the kind of person that you're dealing with in that situation.
Mhm.
Those court cards are also like there's 16 of them across the 4 suits,
Mhm.
and most of the ancient divination systems, runes, geomancy, Ifa, Magio, Dews, they all deal with 16 mother symbols, and those
Mhm.
are the basis of the entire divination system. So they got connected to the 16 court cards and the runes, the geomancy, all of those. And
Mhm.
so as you're doing a rune, as you're doing a pull, if it's really deep and you're doing a massive reading, you're doing 70, 72 cards or something like that, and you're still looking for more information, you take a little shuffle of just the 16 cards and pull up one or two, whatever spread you want to do that you would normally do with a set of runes.
Mhm.
If it's 3, if it's a single rune, if it's however many you want to do that, so it brings a whole new twist to that, and we'll start getting into those different systems, at least superficially. I'm not going to try to.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we haven't even touched on those things yet.
Yeah, but now we will.
All
So
right, well, let's
pretty
touch
awesome.
them.
So the Princess of Wands. What element are we in there, Mr. Zen?
What's that?
What element are we in with the
We're in
wand?
energy, fire.
We are in fire, indeed. So let's build a person. What kind of qualities would you say a fiery person would exhibit?
Outgoing, loud, energetic.
Energetic, for sure.
Yeah.
Erratic, a little bit, right?
Erratic.
Have that quality of kind of like blowing up and then like squishing down to like this little spark and then into flame again.
Mhm.
So especially when you're dealing with the princesses, you're dealing with the very first venture into those suits, right? So the princess is the young woman. She's a young sort of what kind of look would you imagine the fiery person would look
Hot.
like? Well, hot, yeah, maybe sweaty, but maybe think about kind of a quality.
A fiery person,
Yeah,
would be very attractive, I think, and
yeah, but what makes somebody attractive? So like
wow, where
streaming red hair.
where are these questions coming from, Mr. Wizard?
Because we're building. This is how we get to
Okay, so
the
yes,
princess, bro.
okay, streaming red hair. Yes, I see that. Fiery, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the point of this is that there are elements. Okay, if this is really boring you, we can skip.
No, I didn't mean it in that way. It's not your usual line of questioning.
No, we're into a whole new world, bro. That's the kind of exciting part about right now.
Yeah, no,
And defining these and finally getting to talk about these personalities and these personas, like they bring a whole new element to the whole
okay. So each of the princesses is going to have a different persona.
yeah, and
Okay.
and understanding how to construct that person, what kind of qualities that person would have, the prince, the queen, it's like they all have really specific things that they do and kind of reflect an age, a place in life, and a kind of maturity level as well. So we're going to get deep into the qualities of all of those guys. Yeah.
Okay. So then I would say a adult but young adult fiery redhead.
Very good. Well, a woman actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant. Adult, but still not like an older woman, like a younger woman.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's somebody just starting out. It's somebody with a lot of passion. It's somebody with a lot of skills, very smart. It's somebody that really like feels immensely strong about whatever they're dealing with at the moment, and is prone to really like explode and exaggerate those scenarios to the point of being a little bit unrealistic. At the same time, depending on how the winds are blowing, it can be really like low. It can just be this like burning coal that's like not hot at all, not into flame at all, and take some impetus. And that's the whole point of the princesses, is they're the impetus now, the explosion through to the knight, the king. Kind of cool.
Very cool.
So, some of the other things that this card represents in a reading are like traveling in a lot of different places, and this is kind of a cool thing. So, like you pull the Princess of Wands, depending on what the cards are surrounding that, be taking a trip. And that could be a trip like literally away. It could also be a trip where you're connecting with other people who are long distance in kind of a business scenario.
Right.
Anything that requires, leaving your sanctum and your little known area, which also, one of my favorite parts of that is it represents new learning. And this moment of like, this woman is going out into the world and like, she doesn't know how fucked up it is. All she knows is she's going to go out and conquer the world, and that just balls to the wall, like open, like I can do anything kind of attitude is really indicative, especially of this particular one. Yeah. So like new learning, like anytime this card in combination with the Fool, like, wow, that's a whole like spiritual learning.
Princess and the Fool. Yeah. So I've actually I've got it up here on my screen on the side, and I probably should have just gathered what you were getting at just by looking at it. Let me see if I can share it.
It is rather.
I also wanted to remind you of our own princess that we've got in the green room, just in case I didn't know if you had remembered. Or we were going through the card first. Here we go. So that I should have, fiery redhead. I should have known that right off the bat that's what you were trying to get at.
When you're asking about a business situation, really very useful little hints. You go into a meeting with a crowd full of people and you start picking out the people that you've already kind of read where the energy is going to be lying. And it kind of is proven to be very, very useful. Yeah. And that's it. There it is. It's the explosion. It's almost like the head of the match, right? Boom. And that energy explodes up. Read those, read the large words on this.
Brilliance, courage, and beauty.
There you go.
There you go.
It's a woman that likes to be seen, it's a woman that's like the star of the freaking show, which is a great segue, I think, into our guest.
There you go. So, we have a special guest with us. Welcome to the Fool's Journey, Mrs. Frankie Scorpion.
Frankie Scorpion, yeah.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We always love having exciting guests, and it's interesting that you're on this show because you met Brian recently, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to have this woman come on the show, and she's involved in all these things." And I think you mentioned your name, and I didn't even think about it at the time. But then he told me like yesterday or the day before, he's like, "Oh, her name is Frankie Scorpion." And I was like, I know Frankie Scorpion.
I know. It is the smallest world ever.
It is. It was insane.
It's crazy. We're in Sebring, Florida, for God's sakes. It's not like we're in Brooklyn, It's like, oh my God.
We're in like bump up nowhere in Florida.
I have to give props to Frankie on a number of different levels.
Yeah.
Like she's like. We're going to be talking about this. Are you hearing that strange noise?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I was just trying to see where it was coming from. but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I was hearing the same thing for a while.
Yeah. You may
Should I
have a
log out
setting.
and log in?
You could do that, or you may have a setting on your microphone that it'll just say settings, and then you look at your audio settings, and it's like an echo cancellation or something.
Chili, what up?
How's that?
Welcome,
it seems
Randy.
like it might
I'm
be
still
going.
hearing
No,
you.
it's coming on when we talk. I don't, that happens every once in a while
Okay,
here.
so yeah.
And I'm not really sure. Hold on a second. I'm going to look at my settings too.
It sounds good now.
All right.
Whatever you did worked.
Nope, it's
No.
cracking. I still hear it. I still hear it. It's all right. Let me ask you.
Log out again?
I don't know if that'll help, but I know what will help, and I know it's a big ask. I hate asking our guests things, even something as simple as turning your phone sideways. But do you have headphones?
Hold on. Yes,
I think that would help. I think the issue is like the sound comes out and it goes back in the microphone, and it's trying to echo cancel it, and it's like, this it's that AI that doesn't work that Brian talks about.
Here we go. My point exactly.
Trying to
is that better?
1,000,000%.
Yeah, that's way better.
Way better.
Okay.
That's perfect.
So the way I met Frankie
cool.
was through the Goddess Gathering of all things, and I went and showed up. We did my whole story, like walking through the door, like I met everybody. I met Frankie as Bree, and we had that whole connection, and it was just a really magical time that whole time for me. And as we've gotten to know each other and really come to appreciate each other's art and her whole tattoo world, and and she digs the light paintings and stuff. We're working on a couple projects with that here in Sebring as well. It's just been kind of a really amazing and productive and inspiring connection, and I'm really thrilled to be able to bring her on. One of the things that she's been talking about doing since I met her is this magazine, this tattoo magazine that she's been working on, and that editorial is near and dear to my heart. That was my first couple jobs. I know how hard that is. You know how hard that is.
Yeah.
We went to do our own.
We were going to do it.
Right. Exactly. So here she goes in the middle of working through some really difficult, and by the way, congratulations on getting the physical stuff cool. Excellent.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
But through all of that, man, she just really kept a real princess of wands, man. She was going to fucking make this happen and made that shit explode and made all the connections happen. And through the midst of it and the heart and the hurting and all of that bullshit, man, she has a beautiful magazine to show. So, I really want to give her the opportunity to talk about this tonight and go into as much depth as you'd like to on it, Frankie, because I think that's a really superb job.
Thank you. Totally. Thank you very much. The magazine it was I had to really touch into things that I didn't know. I was a high school dropout, so I do have some insecurities here and there. And one of them was I got the gift of gab, but when it came to grammar, I really suck at that. So going over it and proofreading it 10 million times was exhausting, but I needed to come out perfect. And I wanted this magazine to be a little bit different than the rest that are out there in the tattoo industry. So we're a conscious, socially conscious magazine where we're actually picking valuable topics for each issue. For example, our first issue was ink therapy, sobriety, and mental health. Being that we're the misfits and retrogrades of society, but now we're popular. People have always assumed that we're the prostitutes or drug addicts or criminals and stuff like that were tattooed or doing tattoos. And oops, sorry, dropped you.
Yeah.
So using that topic alone really touched base with a lot of new people and old timers that are actually sober now. So it was really cool to hear their journey and how their life changed completely by being sober. I feel like everybody has their own type of sobriety. Some people are California sober, some people are LA sober. I'll go balls to the wall like every 6 months and go sex, drugs, and rock and roll full force for a day because I literally can't take the hangovers. It's just not my thing. You know what I
And
mean?
you're like,
So
oh
I think,
yeah, I remember what this does to me.
right? Exactly. And I've been working on my vices and my bad habits and disciplining them for the past 5 years. So doing that gave me the opportunity to finally tap into this magazine because now it's hyper focused. I gave up men, I gave up drinking. I drink once a month if I do, but like literally, I just had a half a glass of Bloody Mary yesterday, and I was like, all right, I'm done for. I went home and passed out for 4 hours. So I can't. Meanwhile, I used to like
You're
drop
a real
down bottles
animal,
of Jack.
Jackie.
Yeah, I know. I used to drop down bottles of Jack Daniels, and now like I can't even.
Right. Right.
Which is fine because I'm quite comfortable just smoking my herb and I'm happy with that. But so, like I was said, this magazine was really important to us. So, another big thing that we're doing with this magazine is we are going to do a women's issue every year where all the articles will be based on women, and 95% of the ads will be women owned businesses in the tattoo industry. And the reason I'm
Cool.
doing that is because although we do model searches for events that we do locally, whatever convention we're doing in that area, and we do have a yearly tattoo socialite of the year that we pick,
Cool.
but we want to show our audience that we don't need to objectify and sexualize women to show their worth. And by contributing our whole issue, the women's issue, to women, we get to hear other women's journeys and how they struggled and how they strive forward and how being the tattooed lady wasn't as all cracked up of what it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? For instance, men were almost glorified that they were tough and had tattoos. Women, on the other hand, weren't.
Sure.
So I want to touch base on those topics. And in our magazine, we are, very cutting edge and modern where we use some influencers, some nowadays people who know how to deal with their social media, which is great. But we're also very much into old schoolers and old timers. So we have Bowery Stan's nephew, Marvin Markowitz. He's doing a history fun facts with all the old vintage photos and memorabilia that he has from his uncle.
Cool.
And for those who don't know who Bowery Stan is one of the old timers in the grouping of Ed Hardy, Mark Mahoney, Sailor Jerry,
The
Lyle
original tattoo
Tuttle,
artists. Yeah.
yeah, Tattoo Lou Senior and Philadelphia Eddie, and like that crowd, and Shanghai Kate, of course,
Right.
which will be on the cover of our women's issue because
Oh, awesome. It's
she
so
just
weird you mentioned her name because I was just looking at some old photos and I have a picture of her and myself at one of the conventions holding the Women of Armageddon calendar that I had done. And I was
really.
like, oh, she was so awesome. Yeah,
She does. She just passed.
Yeah, I know. And she was just so awesome. She was
She
such
really was. So
amazing energy. Yeah.
yeah, she really was. So, even though we're interviewing for that issue a couple of TV tattoo celebrities, I'm not putting them on the cover. I'm putting her on the cover. So
Awesome.
that's another big thing we're doing. It's not going to just be models on the cover or celebrities, although the first one was Evan Seinfeld, but we're good friends. But I'm going to have whatever is going to be authentic and ethical and advocating towards the tattoo industry. So we want to educate these new kids on how they got the ability to have the freedom to do what they do now with their artwork. And it's really
Are you doing
important.
newsstand and digital as well?
We're
Shows
doing
up Brian there
digital,
for
and
this.
you could buy one of our printed magazines. But I'm waiting until I get enough funding to put it in Walmart and Barnes and Noble, so I can control the narrative. I don't want it put in the weed and porn section. I want it in the art and lifestyle section. So until I have enough capital to really fight that, which is going to be a hot minute, I'm going to have to really fight that because the magazine industry always tries to push our industry towards the dingy, grimy, tattooed, pot, drugs, and fucking sex. And it's not about that. The
Right.
master artist coming to what I'm going to say next is today's version of master artists, the Dalis, the Monets, the Fridas, are the Roman Abregos, the Nico Hurtados, the Megan Massacres. Like these are exceptional artists, and they're master artists. So
Do you
we're
have
actually
do you have a personal favorite? How do those guys? Is there somebody that
Oh,
just like blows your?
blows my mind.
Yeah.
Um, it depends on what I want to get, but one person stands out in my life, in my mind right now, because her color saturation is balls to the wall. She's from LA. I think her name is Laura Anunnaki. I'm not sure, but her colors are like phenomenal. Like I want to retouch up one of my sleeves, and I'm not letting anybody touch it until I get her
Wow.
to do it because
What
she's
kind of
amazing.
style? What kind of style?
She's like color bomb. So she
Okay.
uses a lot of bright yellows, a lot of neons, a lot of hot pinks, a lot of purples. My signature colors are blue. So I use a lot of blue, but the best thing to make a blue look like blue is a hot pink, or even like a lime green. So having people that can color saturate you like that is just amazing because it brings your whole tattoo to a different life. And like I said, these master artists, which is a big thing, is we're actually doing a national petition to bring awareness and to be able to advocate and lobby to implement tattoo art in the art history school curriculums.
That's
So
awesome.
the school curriculums, when they teach art in college, do not even consider tattooing as a part of art. Meanwhile, we're the second oldest form of art next to hieroglyphics, and we're
Yeah.
actually, our magazine sponsors a full page ad for free indefinitely for the Tattoo Heritage Project, which is a tattoo museum in LA, and they preserve tattoo art history, which is really important.
That's
So
awesome.
like our magazine is going to be a part of that, but I'm going to try to get the other magazines involved with that as well, because I don't think that it's a me and an I thing. I think it's a community thing, and the more media we have backing that up, the better it is, because then we can
Right.
change that law. And then eventually the next petition we do will be to unify the tattoo health department regulations nationwide. So, but first we're going to stick with this one because it's going to gravitate to our audience. And then when we build that audience, then we'll be able to move it forward to the health department situation. But I'm excited about the magazine. So we have a lot of
It's
collaborators that are
awesome.
in
Yeah.
the industry, like Dawn Bennett, which is Marshall Bennett's wife, and Marshall and Bob Tyrell are constantly like they're two peas in a pod, So I had love having her. I also have Chico from Mark to Life, who had Tattoo Baby, and another girl who came out of his shop who actually did Ink Masters. So he's like birthed a lot of awesome tattoo artists out
Hmm.
of his shop, and he handles the urban industry. So we have an urban, articles that just discuss how they've had different influences than some white male dominated men in the
Hmm.
industry.
Hmm.
Women's perspectives, the LGBTQ community. Now that because back in the day, you couldn't be like gay or lesbian and be a tattoo artist. They would have kicked your ass like to the ball
Wow.
to the wall.
Yeah.
Like, so now everybody's so sexually open and friendly that it's a different vibe, and I really want to hear what they have to do.
Yeah, it's
So
it's amazing when we met back in 2012 around that time, what was going on in the tattoo industry and what I learned working in the tattoo industry, and what I saw was how much it had evolved, from it was always, I think it was always a form of art, but now it was really becoming, the people who were doing it were not just tattoo artists, they were also fine artists and, you know, all kinds of artists. And it just was becoming more and more respectable, at least it seemed to me,
no, it definitely did. What happened was a lot of tattoo conventions and shops started off with the help of biker clubs, and from like 2004ish, I noticed that a lot of separation was made. So a lot of artists were not trying to identify as an alliance with the biker industry.
Right.
A few stayed loyal, like Mario Barth. He's always been loyal to his 81 friends,
Mhm,
and he's like phenomenal. Like
mhm,
he is an entrepreneur in this industry that not many people can top what he does
mhm,
half the time. You know what I
mhm.
mean? But it's, yeah. So there was a lot of like friction going on in 2005 to 2010 because artists wanted to separate themselves from that outlaw lifestyle. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But I do like the fact that they did. I don't think that you shouldn't lose your loyalty to where you came from, but everybody should have room to be able to evolve and make whatever they have going on as perfect as possible. And sometimes you just have to move on, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
certain crowds of friends. It's like anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
So did you bring any pages out of the magazine that we could see by any chance?
I
Yeah.
could. I have some I can share if you want. If you're cool with that, I was actually just going to say.
Yeah.
I read a bit of that article. Let me see. Present. Stop screen. Oop, hold on a second. Producing and being on the screen at the same time. I read some of the Evan Seinfeld article, and where is it? It would be this one. There it is. And I also was looking at this one artist. You were talking about saturation, and you have this article in the
Brandon Bond.
magazine. Yeah, I was
Yes.
looking at his work, and I was just like, "Wow! Look at the color in this
Can you
work."
blow that up a little bit, Michael?
I think I can. Yes, this is in.
Yeah, because those things are awesome, man.
He's a reputable artist. So right now, the industry is being diluted a lot. A lot of people don't know the difference between a pioneer, an old timer, a reputable artist, which is like what Brandon Bond is, and what the difference is from an influencer and a tattoo TV celebrity. Not all tattoo TV celebrities are great artists. Some
Right.
are amazing, and others are mediocre at best. They get chosen for their character and their sense of drama, so to speak, because it's TV. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so right now, a lot of people don't know the pecking order. And also, we have award-winning artists, but for those ones that win awards in smaller shows with less competition, should not really be holding the title of award winning. It should be amongst the elites, like the bigger shows where you have more competitors
Right.
in your craft. You
Right.
know, so we're going to change that because, as you know, with Tattoo Lou's convention that I was the executive producer on, I asked if I could put together the first award ceremony for the industry, and Tattoo Lou funded that, you know, and we named it under his umbrella, which was amazing. But that was my dream for like 4 or 5 years that I've always wanted to do, and it was a
Yeah.
good, it
Hey,
was a
can you
good
blow that
turnout.
up a little bit, Michael?
Yeah, this one even more, sure.
It was a good turnout, that award ceremony, but our next one's going to be like caliber of like MTV awards type. Like I'm going balls to the wall with the next award ceremony.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think there was definitely, the industry had a lot of things going on, I think. But there was a lot of really good things happening, a lot of respect and growth and real amazing art stuff, that was going on in the shows. I mean, the shows were more than just, you know, tattoos. There was a lot of art and vendors who were doing lots of arts and crafts. Whoop, I'm scrolling here.
Yeah, actually, in our magazine, we have a whole selection for digital NFT art from artists. And we also have artists in arts who use different forms of art. So we showcase sneaker art and we showcased blood art. No, wine art. Sorry, it was wine art by this really amazing artist that we're going to wind up interviewing on our
So
podcast.
I'd love to see you guys, the tribal aspect of like real magic, like tattoos being part of real magic throughout like history. I'd love to. Have you delved into that at all? Or?
Yes, actually, the person that I chose for my favorite hot picks book, because I have a section where I like pinpoint just a little blurb on things that fascinate me. Like I'll pick a venue. We picked Screams and Cocktails and Screams, which is in Orlando. It's like a creepy horror, Jack the Pumpkin King type, you know what I mean, bar, which is really nice. But a writer, Michael Anthony, is amazing. He wrote 2 books. One book is about how they used to use tattoos for holistic medicinal reasons as well, and spiritual reasons. So we're going to wind up interviewing him soon.
That's awesome.
That'd be really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because from the Indian, I mean, like there are so many indigenous cultures that have used those things not just as decoration but as like part of their spiritual journey.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we have a new writer, Christine Sparrow. She's a tattoo artist. She's going to be writing the history of indigenous artists.
Awesome.
and their tribes and how her first article is going to be amazing, which is coming out in the women's issue. It's based on an Egyptian form of tattooing that women were the ones who were tattooing. So she's going to give us a whole article on that, which I actually look forward to reading. So
Are you
we
going
try
to
to
deal with body art or piercings or any of that body
we will
sculpture? You know, like with
we will have certain we will have certain articles on piercings and scarification and stuff like that, implants, which are really big right now as well, splitting of the tongue, tattooing of the eyeballs. So we'll probably throw that more into our podcast, the Tattoo View podcast, because I think people really need to see the visual and the movement and just see it like in more of a video format instead of just the magazine article. I'm really
tattooing
trying.
somebody's eyeball just weirds me out. So,
Me too. I personally wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get my
oh,
face tattooed, but some people look awesome with their face tattooed and some
Yeah,
people don't.
yeah, absolutely. So you just mentioned something. Let me bring that up here. What is that all about?
Oh, Tattoo View. So I
Yeah.
originally was one of the original old school girls that did interviews and conventions back 15 years ago, before it was a thing. And I got to interview a lot of the old timers, which I have footage of, which we'll be posting as one of our first
Cool.
Tattoo View podcast, content. But now, if you're not doing a podcast, you're not relevant. So we switched it over from a talk show to a podcast. But
Cool.
we're also going to use the footage for that because we're creating a tattoo channel on Roku.
Awesome.
So we're having our own reality show contents, and Tattoo View is one of them. Another one is going to be Tattoo Wives, which I'm relaunching because I shelved it 12 years ago, whatever it was, 11 years ago. And then we've got a couple of ones like Eat, Drink, and Rock and Roll, which is going to be based out of Long Island with Patty Dodge. You might know Patty Dodge, right?
I know Patty Dodge,
Patty
absolutely.
Dodge rocks.
Frankie
I love
Scorpion
that
is a
bitch.
Long Island transplant to Sebring. Jilly says she definitely wants a copy of the women's issue. Jilly's one of our biggest fans and always interested in what people have to offer, which is great.
Definitely. She can go on our website, www.inkvasionmagazine.com. She can get the
Jilly's a
digital one
member
for
of the
free.
Goddess Gathering, actually.
She can get one she can get digital for free, or she can order a print one.
Awesome.
We want to give the digital for free as much as possible because we want people to see what we have to say, because I got a big mouth and I got a lot of shit to say.
InkVasionMagazine.com, you said?
Yes, InkVasionMagazine.com.
All right, I'm gonna.
So our
I'm gonna put
Tattoo
that
View
up on the screen
podcast
right
is
now.
one of our part of our media for the channel that's going to be coming up that we're doing. And
Awesome.
Eat, Drink, and Rock and Roll is a spin-off off of Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. We did Eat, Drink, and Rock and Roll. And Patty's been in the Long Island rock scene for about 20 years with PDD Entertainment. And my best friend Carol's been a chef for 40 years. Her family's owned several restaurants, and she's run a bunch of them. Her and I actually remodeled her dad's restaurant and turned it into a speakeasy one year, and it was called the Note Lounge, which her and I are going to reopen one year when she moves down here. But that show where she is going to be doing interviews with celebrities while they're cooking their favorite meal from their home through the podcast, she's going to be replicating it while Patty Dodge interviews them, and she's going to do food reviews with Patty throughout Long Island. And on top of that, she's going to be doing a tour with Patty in different really interesting venues or restaurants or bars. And we're going to have charity cook-offs with the different chefs across the nation.
Amazing. I got to stay in touch with you guys. I mean, if this stuff is going on Long Island as well,
Hells yeah. We're in the
to see
beginning
what's going on.
stages. Yeah, we're in the beginning stages of it right now, but it's going to be a fun show. So we're also going to be showing like skull, pancake mixers, like all this cool, like kitchenware that's all rock inspired or gothic inspired, so
Awesome.
that way people can order it and stuff like that for us rocker friends out there,
I love it. I love it. I definitely remember you always had a lot going on. Like you're always involved in a lot of things, and it sounds like you are back on top of it and back into it. And your energy definitely seems really a lot better. It's like you're
I'm alive again.
yeah, like,
I
and
am. I'm
more
alive.
positive and just like happy
I
and
am full of
doing it.
love.
I gotta
I
say,
am.
congratulations. Full of love. That's awesome. I love, Brian knows I
And
love that.
and now that I'm talking about love for a hot minute, although I've chosen to be celibate for a long time and I choose not to have love in my life because I've had enough lovers to last me 4 porn star lifestyles. So I had enough of it. But we are launching a tattoo Tinder type dating site called Ink
Okay.
Together.
Nice.
And our little fun gimmick to bring a little love into the tattoo industry conventions is we're filming a pilot called the Tattoo Dating Game, like the
Nice.
70s show, but alternative. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
And then we can get some hotties and some baddies on our site so people can start making love with each other.
I gotta say, really, congratulations for everything that's going on, because I certainly can relate to the idea of creating a magazine or creating a podcast, and then having that as a vehicle to interview people who you respect, like Evan Seinfeld. I've had Tommy Chong on the show, and like people who I never expected to be talking to, and it's like, wow, I've created something here, like you've created your magazine, and it's a vehicle for yourself to really become yourself and do the things that you love. It's amazing. I love that. So
I know.
congratulations on all of the success to come.
You too.
Thank you. I remember, I thought Brian saying, when he said, hey, he's got this woman Frankie to bring on the show, he talked about like doing festivals and events. Is that something else that you're also?
I created the first sisterhood in the tattoo industry, and I shut that down in 2010 before I got pregnant with my son. But it was time, because when I finally figured out how to monetize from it, because I funded it all, it was too late. You can't restructure a group of girls from thinking a certain way.
Right.
So we're relaunching a new one. But in the meantime, I have always done goddess gathering events, which is like circles amongst friends and people that I've known through the Gypsy Queens that would fly down, people I've
That's
known for
awesome.
years, and they'd come to my house. But when I moved to Sebring, literally it's like bumfuck nowhere, like a 1950s town. But it was great for my son to have nostalgic moments and create memories that he'll remember for a lifetime, because it's like
Awesome.
that.
Yeah.
It's like that Norman Rockwell vibe.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
So
its own little bubble. It's
Yeah.
not like the real world at all.
Yeah.
It's its own
It's not. It's
bubble.
like its own little paradise. But
That's
it's boring
awesome,
as
though.
fuck.
Yeah.
It was boring as fuck.
Michael, you mentioned the festivals. Did you happen to get the email I sent you that has some
I
pictures?
did. I want to get to that too.
Those are from last week's festival. I think you guys would really dig seeing them. I think you would love it.
Yeah, Julia's saying great energy. We were all smiling. So continue, Frankie.
Awesome.
Sorry.
So, like the goddess gathering, like I did at home, but this time I wanted to create it in my town because, like I said, I've been disciplined and I only drink once a month. But I want to go out of my house to drink, at that point. And I created the goddess gathering. So I figured if I build it, they will come. And in 7 months, we have 200 and something members on our.
So
on
that's
our
the
group
goddess
page
gatherings
already.
that you're going to, Brian?
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Wow, that's awesome. But that's not where these pictures are from, the festival stuff. That's
from last week's Earth Fest.
Gotcha. That's that's incredible. What a crazy connection, Frankie. Like, like my buddy Brian is going to your goddess gathering as Brianna.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
I love this. This is amazing. Oh, we lost you. We lost Frankie. Hopefully she realizes it and she comes back soon. But let's bring these up. I got these ready to go. These are some of the awesome photos that you took.
Yeah, that's an energetic selfie.
So good. I love there's some of these that I love. I guess I don't know. You got to tell me what you were shooting in front of here. Like
there were these walls that had been painted on like years before, and like part of the paintings were there, and it was just a great texture and some colors. And I'm using the fiber optics brush, in front of that.
These are like next level. And I wanted to say, when we were looking at the stuff as the opening of the show, which is some of your early stuff, and this is some new stuff. I mean, this is
Really pleased with these.
Oh, dude, when I saw these today, I was like getting a boner. I was just like, these are so
Opened up a
awesome.
whole new, like, I'm like so stoked about it.
They're so,
Really.
so awesome. Oh my God.
And these really came out of the energy of like after the like everybody had left. Oh, this is one of our friends that stayed with us, Laz, and Laz is kind of like this Philippine like shaman kind of guy. He's like
Uh-huh.
really low key about it, but it's like he's a real deal. So like having this like here's Laz as the wizard was really great.
That's awesome. I bet you her phone died. Oh, look at this one. Oh,
Oh, love this one.
yeah, totally, totally. Amazing. Again, I was like, what the hell is he shooting in front of? Oh, and she's back. There she is.
Sorry, my battery died. I
I was
wasn't
just
paying
gonna say, I bet you
attention.
her phone died.
Of all times.
Of all
So
times.
I
Hold on,
wanted to
let
finish
me pull
saying
this
what I
out,
was.
and we'll come back to these, Brian. Hang on a second. Let's let our guest speak.
Sorry, so the Goddess Gathering in the middle of the Bible Belt, surprisingly, is going really well. We help out local venues. We've trotted around in the circle for different locations because we try to promote other people's locations. We do have vending booths for girls, female owned businesses, and then B does our tarot card reading, which is awesome.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
loves her enthusiasm,
That's
which is
awesome.
great. And we do spells and incantations, purging negativity or manifesting things. Sometimes we do it on the new moon. We usually do it on the full moon, though.
Mhm.
And I love it because I have a bunch of witchy women that are supportive, and I do art therapy with them. We do sunset yoga smoke session, which is awesome on the lake. Like we have like such a lovely, helpful community. Things I tried convincing my friends to do with me for decades,
Right.
trying to convince them to come on, let's do it, let's go do this, let's do art therapy. I got a group of friends here that do it naturally, and it's like
That's awesome.
everybody's so supportive. And
And
it's more home based, so I don't let it get too big because I
right.
have my girl Janet running it for me, and she's a sweetheart. She's so loyal. She's always trying to introduce me as the founder. I'm like, I don't need to be a rock star. I was like, I'm enjoying you being your rock star because
Right, right, right.
she has a child with disabilities and a brother with disabilities, so her life is always consumed by others, and this is the time with the Goddess
Mhm.
Gathering that she gets to
Amazing.
create and
Love
do
it.
her thing and be like a rock star. And I love watching her grow and do that.
I love it. I love it.
The cool thing though with the Goddess Gathering is I just got asked to co-produce the vampire what is it, symposium that we're doing in October 13th, Friday the 13th. It's literally a vampire gala ball, like
Wow.
balls to the wall, gowns, black tie affair,
Nice.
like top hats recommended. Anybody who's werewolf, witch, vampire, or fae is more than welcome to come and explore, or new people that want to check it out can. The tickets are like $350 for VIP and $150 for the regular tickets, but this is like full catering, full, open bar, the whole nine
Cool.
to the whole vampire scene, which I'm
We'll
really
have to
excited
have you
about.
back when it's closer to the time and promote it. Promote it
Yeah,
again.
so our Goddess Gathering is going to be a sponsor for them because I'm co-producing it, so it should be fun.
It's so amazing to me that what you're saying, because I can remember when Brian got to Sebring and he's like, "Oh, I met this group of people and I'm so excited and I think I'm gonna go as Bree," and then he came back and he was just like, "Oh my God, it was amazing," and he's just been having the best time, and it's really changed his life. I know, he went through a rough period, as we all do, and he's just, look at him now, man. He looks like a 25-year-old.
I
Yeah,
know. A lot of people found their home in our Goddess Gathering events.
that's awesome.
And that's how I feel. And B's like that, and my friend Kevin, he's like, and Kevin's from Long Island, actually. I met him at Lowe's
Oh
at
wow.
my other job. I'm
Right,
like
right, right.
Jamaican. I got 10 million jobs.
Well, I think I'm definitely gonna have to make a trip down to Sebring,
Yes, you
and
should come. I'm
check it
putting
out.
together an art gallery exhibit for B at the Sebring Art Museum that we're going to be working on.
Awesome.
So you should come down when he has his art gallery exhibit.
That would be amazing. I think you and I, we should get in touch and catch up, because I've been doing some interesting artwork that you might like, and
Yes,
just other
definitely.
projects too. Working with Jesse Blaze, and I'm actually, I just did Cody Snyder, Jesse's brother. I just did his website called Acid for Squares, and he is doing a media company with his wife. But they are very heavily plant medicine advocates.
Oh, really?
So the entire Snyder family, other than Dee, did ayahuasca and went down to Peru, and like really had some amazing healings, and like are just changed the whole dynamic of their family. And so he's doing really amazing stuff in that field, and I'm working with him too. So it's just the weirdest thing. I'm working with D on video graphics for his concerts through his manager Danny Stanton. You probably know Danny.
Danny's actually my favorite band's manager now.
He's
Kill
amazing.
Code.
Oh, Kill Code's awesome. Kill Code
I fucking love Kill Code.
they're freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm good. I'm friends with those guys too, and they're amazing. But I'm working with D through that, and then Jesse and I have a friendship that was totally separate, and I was working with him, and then Cody is a filmmaker, so I was working with him through the film industry, and like totally separately working with 3 Snyders. It was just the weirdest thing.
That is pretty wild.
But
oh my God,
my brother, frequency.
Yeah, man, it's totally frequency, definitely a million %. And I'm grateful for it, even though I haven't fucking figured it out yet.
Yeah,
figuring it out.
So simple, man.
just roll with the punches.
Yeah, totally.
So simple.
Totally.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Frankie. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and then I'll have you guys on my podcast soon.
Yes, awesome.
Sounds really good.
Very exciting. Very exciting. So Brian, I feel like
there was one other image in there that I think it's like the best image I've ever done.
Finish Brian's images, because there's more than just one in here. There's a bunch.
It's the one after this, I think.
Okay. Well, that would be this one.
That one.
Yeah, dude, look at this fucking.
That looks
like
a painting.
Holy
that
fucking
reminds
shit,
me
dude.
of like a very H.R. Giger inspired type of
it's
artwork.
just,
I mean, it's like alive. It's like
out of control.
Oh God,
out of control, man. These are so out of control. Again, I don't know. I feel like it's whatever you were shooting in front of has given it this whole like framework to exist on now. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's just really changed the look, and it's got this texture to it, and they're just, holy crap, just blowing my mind.
Love that one.
Now this, I'm imagining this is fire dancing. Doing some fire dancing, I'm imagining.
Yeah, the fire dance.
Yeah. These are
really fun evening.
Really awesome stuff.
Fun. Yeah.
B, do you read auras?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You should do like a little mini seminar for the Goddess Gathering.
That's coming up already. You're way behind.
Okay.
Come on, get with it, Frankie. It's already happening.
It's already got me booked, baby. Well, we've done it again, man.
We've done it again. Frankie, hang on, stay with us as we sign off and say goodbye to everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah. The Princess of Wands. Are we going to continue with the Princess next week?
We will be going to the Prince of Wands next week.
The Prince of Wands next week. All right. So the Wands has become the leading energetic symbol of what we should follow.
That's exactly right.
Awesome. I love it. All right. I'm going to run the outro, and peace to everybody. We will see you next week. Adios.